Hey friends, I've been working out, just exploring concepts of worthiness and conditioning and the best way to navigate these things outside of what I've been taught and how I've been operating. And just wanted to get some of my thoughts out, speaking it and sharing it and seeing if others can contribute to making sense out of what I'm working with. So I've been thinking about how to improve my ability to feel worthy and to receive, and struggling with a distinction between being entitled and feeling that you're always deserving, you're always worthy, regardless of if you were good or you did something to deserve receiving. The doing, like, we always are deserving to receive, even if we made a mistake, even if we are imperfect, even if we didn't do something that pleases someone else. So I've been kind of thinking about different, like, internal beliefs around this concept that I'm stuck with. So, like, feeling like we made a mistake and judging our actions when we are able to find fault in the way we treated someone, the way we showed up in a situation, not acting in an approved way in some sort. Any of those things, if we're someone who takes responsibility for our actions and wants to be able to look at ourselves without being blinded by our capacity to hurt others, to make mistakes, our capacity to notice when maybe we did something that was selfish or harmful to another, or not as compassionate as it could be. So the people that are willing and wanting to take responsibility for themselves, how they treat others, their impact on the world, can get caught up in constantly beating themselves up, feeling like they're always wrong, never going to be good enough, never going to be perfect, in the sense that we're always doing right by others. And so working through this feeling of constantly looking outward for our approval, and yet not becoming narcissistic or blinded by our capacity to be harmful to others. So taking that responsibility and ownership of our impact on others, and yet not comparing ourselves and people pleasing, not living and judging what's good or bad and acceptable based on how other people feel about us, if they're happy with what we do, if we please them in the moment. So kind of reorienting the way in which we judge our behaviors as good or bad, without it needing to be pleasing everyone, because it's impossible. And so learning how to discern what feels right for us in that moment, and trusting ourselves without fearing that by only relying on ourselves we could deceive ourselves and hurt someone in some way. And so I'm wondering how to work with this in a safe capacity, how to abolish these beliefs that we've learned about the shame we may have accumulated from being told what was right or wrong when we were younger, and yet not removing all of the important lessons that were helpful. So for example, if this is something that I actually had a dream about, and so it's the most potent example I can give for this type of concept I'm working with. And I'm sure there's many other examples that others maybe can come up with, and I'd love to hear those for different perspectives. But if you get into a car accident and you know it was your fault, but you don't have money and you're really struggling right now, and you feel really distraught in the moment, but you know you're responsible and you're guilty and you should pay physically, literally, figuratively, like you feel this sense of guilt, shame, anger at yourself, and taking responsibility. You want to do the right thing. And so this person that you hit with your car is someone who is very grounded, very understanding and compassionate, and there's a connection between you and this person, and they let you know with reassurance that they don't want anything from you, they forgive you, they understand your situation, where you're coming from, and they are happy to take ownership of the payments needed to fix their own car, and happy to accept your apology, your recognition of your fault and your impact on them. And they have no resentment towards you. They feel complete forgiveness for you creating this situation for them to now have to deal with. They have enough money that they don't even feel any loss. They don't feel any resentment, frustration, or anger. And they're comfortable telling you that you don't need to do anything. And how do you respond to that type of encounter? In my dream, I was very uncomfortable. I couldn't accept it, and I kept saying, "Are you sure I can't do anything?" And I wanted to write a check that I didn't have, because I couldn't believe that this person really didn't want anything from me. I couldn't forgive myself without having to suffer in some way. I couldn't feel like I was being responsible and taking ownership without a loss in that moment. And yet there's a part of me that knows that I could still take responsibility, feel responsible, feel sorry, and want to show this person that I understand that it was my fault. But why do I feel like I needed to do something or give something to prove that, when I could embody that and it could be true, and we could have an agreement between the two of us that resolved and met both of our needs? And at the same time, I don't want to feel as if I was that person who was able to automatically accept this gift that this person's giving me, of forgiveness, of absolving me from the financial burden, of the responsibility to coordinate fixing the car, the extra time and energy that it would cost me in addition to the finances. How can I accept that automatically from this person, being able to receive, being able to accept this gift from this person without being entitled, or without like feeling deserving and worthy in that moment, after you know you did something wrong or you were responsible for something? Could be, if you're always able to accept that right away, we might consider this person being entitled, or not taking responsibility for themselves, or being privileged, or we judge them in some way if they're able to accept that easily. And this is something that when I was younger, I actually am reminded now that I used to think about as well, when a certain friend of mine would tell me that their they were getting meals cooked for them and brought to the house often. And the fact that they were able to accept that kind of triggered me in a way. Like, I wish I could just accept things like that. But there's nothing wrong with accepting that. Someone wants to cook for you and wants to prepare meals for you and bring them to your house. You don't have to do anything back to accept that. And for me, it would be very challenging to receive without feeling obligated or like I'm wrong if I accept that. And if I don't want to do something back for them, it would be hard for me to accept it. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I could still be a good person and be a good friend or companion to the person who wants to do something for me. It doesn't make me a bad person to accept without giving back. And so there's kind of a lot of different nuances in this whole concept, whether it's the balance, the constant seeking of balance and feeling like you need to do what others do exactly. For example, like if you receive payment from someone wants to support your new business and they come and they spend $10 at an event that you hosted, and then you feel like you have to go and spend $10 at their event. You're never going to build your business. You're never going to make money. You're always going to be stuck in this stagnancy. Gifts, when someone gives you a gift, you feel like, oh shit, I didn't get this person a gift. It was unexpected. Now I have to go out and buy a gift for them rather than just saying thank you. That was so kind of you to think of me, and not feeling like you have to get it for them, accepting that they wanted to and they chose to, and you not wanting to and you not choosing to doesn't mean that you don't value that person. It just may be a different way in which you express your value or you express your love, or your finances didn't allow that, but you still care for this person and you're still appreciative of the gifts that they've given you. So I just wanted to like kind of get some of those thoughts out for anyone who's working on maybe improving their ability to receive abundance, their ability to be discerning with how they choose to show up in the world, outside of what they've been told and how they've been programmed to behave. And yet you're still wanting to be an ethical person. You're still wanting to be good in accordance to your own value system. Maybe not so much others, but still good in some way. You have a want to not be destructive, not be harmful to others, and to be a light in the world and not a parasite. So yeah, if anyone has anything they'd like to share, I'd really, really love to get some more insights, different perspectives. Is how we grow, it's how we learn. And two minds are better than one. So sometimes we may try and do these things on our own, sit with ourselves, our thoughts, and if we just open it up for others to listen to share with, to have a conversation with, we expand so much faster. And so that's really my intention, is just to share my thoughts on these things that I get stuck with. And if anyone wants to contribute, I'm grateful. But I understand that it's not necessarily easy or possible to spend the time and energy to focus on my specific inquiry at the moment, when we all have our own inquiries and things we're chewing on. But if you're inclined to work with me here, then I'm happy to grow together. So what are you thinking about? What's the core block coming up in navigating these challenges that I'm expressing and posing here?